Good evening, son. How are you?
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
How are you? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Um,
me?
yes, I'm great. Happy
Hmm.
Friday evening.
Same to you.
Thank you. So, as you can see, your mom ain't got no makeup on. Ain't got no
Me neither.
eyebrows on, no eyelashes, no nothing. And that would be because I worked from home today, and I didn't want to put on no, I didn't want to put on no face today. Hmm. So,
Looks good to me.
um, so yeah, this is the Mother's Day edition. We are pre-recording it, so we will not have any audience participation. Um, but hopefully, as our audience views it on Sunday or maybe later on in the week, we will get some comments. And I would like to say to everyone who will watch the recording that we promise to respond to all comments and questions. We still want to have a dialogue, but again, it is Mother's Day. This technically would be Mother's Day when we would host our next broadcast. But I'm a mom, and I'm going to enjoy my Mother's Day. I plan on making my mother and my mother in love brunch. So when I get home from church, I will be making brunch for them, and their menu will include salmon croquettes and um, home fries and grits and eggs. I'm doing brunch, and maybe I'm thinking I'm going to make a pasta salad, and yeah, I'm gonna do the works because you know what? I don't want to grill.
Mm.
Do you have any plans for your bride? Oh, your bride is not there. Your bride is in where your bride at in Miami. So you can't
In
even
Miami.
yeah, you can't even spoil her on Mother's Day. Did you do something before she left or
Yeah. Well, we went shopping and
Mhm.
and she got her feet done and nails done and all that.
Mhm.
And the vacation is more so uh the
That's
gift.
her that's her
I
mother.
ain't paid for it. I didn't pay
Oh,
for it all. I gave her something towards it, but I ain't paid
yeah.
for it all. But she just
Okay.
she wanted to escape, and it just happened to be a Mother's Day. I was like, sure, go ahead. So
I understand. I understand. That's cool. So anyway, um I titled this episode Forgiveness is Vital. And I want us to start first off by just sharing your relationship with me as your mom, and then I'm going to share my relationship with with my mother, and then I'm going to step into um, uh, the relationship with my mother and my brother,
mm,
and why I believe that forgiveness is vital. So, take it away, Paris.
so my relationship with my mom has gotten better the older I've gotten
It's gotten
because
better. That make it
yes.
sound like it was bad growing up.
Oh no, but I guess with maturity, I realized that you wasn't my enemy, and your terms weren't too hard to become accustomed to. So
Mm.
yeah, like if I could go back in time, I would just listen to save me a lot of trouble, a lot of a lot of fear, because if anybody know you, you don't play. But but yeah, as I got older, I would say we got closer. Um, I I don't regret how I guess I don't regret my mistakes or how our relationship was, but I am happy that our relationship is better. There was a time where I resented you. That's because I was
Oh.
still immature. Like when you sent me here to Buffalo. Um, but as soon as I got here, well, not as soon as I got here, but as I got here and worked my way into into life here in Buffalo, I I realized it was my best bet was to be back here
Mm.
because I had dug such a deep hole down there and
Mm.
whatnot that that is it was I needed a change of scenery, um, and I was feeling myself. So you know I don't blame you for basically telling me that you couldn't teach me how to be a man because you in fact couldn't. Um, so it took me some time, but I respected that, and I appreciate what you did for me with that lesson.
Mm.
Um, our relationship now is great. I talk to you, you talk to me as if I'm one of your homies, and and I still got the respect to know that I'm not your homie. So I can't just I can't just be saying just whatever. But I do love that we talk to each other, and we don't have to sugarcoat anything or anything like that. Um, I'm happy that you are the type of mother that holds an unbiased opinion when I come to you with problems, and you don't like I said, you don't sugarcoat anything, and you call it like you see it, and I respect you for that. And couldn't ask for anything else.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, his stepfather was leaving out, getting ready to go to work. I appreciate that. I don't know that you've ever shared that with me that you resented me for sending you to
Well, because if you
Buffalo.
think about it, that's about I was like 18, I'm 30. That was a long time ago. I kind of forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it obvious?
Mhm. I mean, hey, it is. It is what It is what it is. I mean, I don't. I respect. I respect. You saying that. Um, I appreciate your transparency with that. And I'm glad that you understand why I have made that decision. Um, I can assure you, it was an extremely tough decision. I promise you it was. Even if you thought at the time that it wasn't. I remember going to church that Sunday and telling pastor and just falling out. And pastor assured me that I did the right thing. Um, yeah, forgive me if I get a little emotional.
Mm.
um, but it was tough, and it was really tough because you were the last one to leave home, or once you were gone, I was officially an empty nester,
Mm.
and uh, took me like mm, 2 weeks for it to actually hit me
Mhm.
that. I was by myself, and it was the first time I had been by myself since I left home at 18.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was a really different kind of adjustment, and you don't know this, but I I I went into a bit of a depression.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, yeah. Um, would I do it again? Mm, mm, I I would say I would hope I would I,
Wouldn't have to.
yeah, but if I had to do it again, probably because it wasn't a punishment, but you was 18 years old, and you wanted to do you and what have you, and yeah, I I just felt like it was gonna be that was the best thing for you. But anyway, on to me. My relationship with my mom, I feel like you too. My relationship with my mom has grown over the years. Um, and I would absolutely say primarily because now I'm a mom as well, and I I understand a lot of things. So I should have brought me some tissue with me. I got a napkin. And so I just want to say to everybody in advance, I'm going to be emotional about this conversation. First of all, my mom is still with us, um, it's definitely not that. But I think my emotions come in because of a conversation I had before we went live with my brother. But I promise, I apologize, but I promise that I will try to get through this and keep it together as best I can. But uh, when I have those moments, I'm hoping that my co-host he will jump in. But growing up, my mom was strict. Uh, she was strict. She was rigid. Um, I always say she was an awesome provider. Um, in my own personal opinion, I felt like she was not as nurturing as she is today. But again, I can't fault her for that because she did share with me later on in life that she couldn't give me she couldn't necessarily give me what she never actually received. And so in her sharing that with me, that helped me to understand um, a lot of things. And so, like I said, I don't fault her. I as parents, and I'm sure Paris, this, this thing called parenting, it don't come with no handbook. Every day is straight up trial and error. Some days you be right on the money. You hit it right on the mark. Other days you ain't so sure,
Mm-hmm.
but you do the best that you can, um, and and just hope for the best. Um, I can say now, me and my mom are like our best friends, And she even wrote me a note. We did a photo shoot last year for her 77th birthday, and she wrote in my album that she referred to me as her daughter friend. And I don't know how many of you daughters out there will understand what that statement means. But basically, how I took it is that yes, I'm her daughter. That's a given. she, she birthed me, but I'm also her friend. And that in itself meant the world to me. And my mom and I, whew, we have grown together. um, and I can say she's an incredible woman, mistakes and all, faults and all. She's still um, an incredible woman. I wouldn't trade her for nothing in the world. My brother, on the other hand, I promise you, if I didn't know no better, I would think that we grew up in two separate households. Um, we didn't. Um, he he has very different views. His or and I'm not even gonna say a view. He has a completely different reality um, of our upbringing. Now, mind you, we both was there. We are 4 years apart. Let me first say that. He's 4 years younger than me. So we grew up in the same household and uh under the same rules. My mother didn't she didn't have no one set of rules for him and a different set of rules for me. But I would say the one of the key things that were different for him and I, his father was there. My father was not. I grew up m- for a long time thinking that his father was my father. I called his father daddy. He was the only father that I knew. I later on found out that he was, actually my godfather. And I found that out when my mother decided to tell me, who my real biological father was. And but that to me, that's the only difference in terms of our upbringing. Um, but my brother, he would to me. I felt like he was a typical kid. He would do stuff and he would get in trouble. And my mother was a very strict disciplinarian. Um, uh, Her mode of discipline may not it was not necessarily my mode of discipline. Um, I think I think most kids when they think about how many whoopings they got, I think every kid will say they was abused. Um,
I wasn't abused.
you was
I
or you
wasn't
wasn't.
abused. I was.
You, um,
Got whooped though.
but I mean, yeah, we all got whooped. Let me tell you something. Um, we all got whooped. Whether you got whooped with a switch, you got whooped with a belt. Some of us even got whooped by an extension cord. Not saying that it was right. And yes, getting whooped with an extension cord borders on child abuse. But I can tell you, I didn't of recent. I have seen some cases of children truly having been abused, and I promise you, I can't claim that title. And I absolutely can't put that on my mother by no stretch of the imagination. But when it comes down to my brother, I get upset because what I can't do is sit and listen to him talk about this reality that he has about our upbringing and co-sign it. I can't do that. And so he attempted to do that today. And, I got bothered and I told him that I wanted to hang up the phone. I wanted to get off the phone. And then he said that he and I should agree never to discuss our mother ever again. I was like, oh, I'm 100% all right with that. I'm 100% all right with that. But I still wanted to get off the phone. And I wanted to get off the phone because there were things that I wanted to say, and the this is not the time to say them to my brother. My brother is he's very angry. He's in a lot of pain right now. Um, he's he has a lot going on right now. And I physically he is in a lot of pain, and I can't help but think that it is because of all the hate and anger that he harbors in his heart that it is now coming out and manifesting itself in his body. Um, and like in a really really bad way. And I can't help but think that if he could just find it in his heart to forgive whatever transgression he believes that our mother did, that um, God would actually touch his body and and heal him. What you think, Paris? You think
What happened about what?
what role do you think what role do you think forgiveness plays in a relationship between a mother and their child? Because children, like when they're small, they don't know that they don't know nothing about forgiveness. That doesn't even come into play. It Forgiveness doesn't become a factor until you become an adult. Because now as an
Mhm.
adult, you have power to do certain things.
Um, I mean, and at the end of the day, you have to uh forgive people for things that are outside of your control. Um, you also gotta move past things, or it's just gonna forever eat away at you. Um, it's important that you forgive them. I wouldn't. You don't necessarily have to forget, or you just act accordingly. but is you do have to start the process of forgiving uh, someone, and in this case, uh, it should have you should have been trying to forgive grandma uh, a long time ago. You know, not in your 50s. So
Mhm.
you know, and it just pondered in his head for like 50 years, so a long time. And
Mhm.
he didn't talk about it to nobody, or he probably did talk to somebody, but he just didn't want to forgive, and that ain't no one else's fault but your own.
Mhm.
Um, you standing if you're standing in your own way of your own happiness simply because you can't forgive somebody, then that's a personal problem. It's a you problem. Yeah.
He so he feels like so he's not interested in forgiving her. Um, he says that he said he can have a relationship with her and not forgive her. Um,
I would think it would be the opposite. You should forgive and not have a relationship. If that was the case, not the opposite way. I don't know. That's more harm than anything. You don't you'll always have some animosity because you never forgave them. So the relationship will always be tarnished because you ain't
mhm,
forgive.
mhm. Well, he says that he has gone so far as to say to me that he hates her.
Hmm. To be hating your mom at 50 something is pretty much a lost cause.
Mm. You think it's a lost cause?
At 50, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you got more days behind you than you do in front of you.
Well, true that. I don't think that is. I don't think that it's a lost cause. Um, but I think one has to ask themselves, well, where has it gotten you? So so he'll tell you, he went into the military and he lived a great life. He got to travel all over the world and met all kinds of people and things of that nature, and did various things and so on and so forth. But today you're by yourself. Your body is riddled with pain because he has what's called topious gout, and his, your body is riddled with pain. You're by yourself. He lives all the way on the other side of the country. Um, but you could still find it in yourself to talk about hate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it really tears me up inside because he tonight he said to me, so let me back up and say I have not spoken to him in over 12 years, and the first time that I spoke to him was on Easter Sunday in 12 years. And so I've pretty much talked to him like almost every day since Easter Sunday. And at times anywhere from 2 to 5 hours at a time on the phone. And we talk about anything and everything or what have you. He was a very intelligent man, very, very intelligent. Um, Loved talking to him on an intellectual level. But when he gets into these areas about just people as a whole, it just really throws me. I'm like, wow. But to he said to me, he's been talking to me since Easter. He said and how did he put it? He he humored me basically as it relates to our mother, and that he had to refrain from telling me how stupid I was, or I am, for having the relationship that I have with my mother right now. And it was that made me get off the phone, because I have some very choice words for him. And it wouldn't have been me cursing him out or anything like that.
Mhm.
And absolutely, I don't have to curse you out, because it is so obvious to me the depths of your pain,
Mhm.
but you choose to be in pain, and you want me to get on that boat with you, and I'm not doing that ever. I never have, and I never will. I chose to have this conversation today on Mother's Day, because we only get one mother, and I have seen in the news some horrible women who God had blessed them to have children, and they have done some horrible things to their children. And that wasn't our life. And that was not my children's life. Um, I was strict, right, Paris? Was I strict?
Mhm. Yeah.
I like things a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I, from from what I saw was trying to make sure, trying to establish a foundation, a foundation for my children, guidelines, for my children. My kids ain't w- I didn't run amok, so my kids wasn't gonna run amok. Now, I'm not saying that I was perfect, because I promise you I was not perfect. I did my own share of stuff. I snuck around, and I did things that I thought that I was big and bad enough to do, and what have you. And I know that I caused my mother some grief. She ain't got to tell me. I know that I caused her some grief. I know that there were times when she was scared for my safety. Um, I know that my mother at times worried about me. I, I don't doubt that at all. And um, I remember when I was 25. I remember calling my mother and apologizing to her for all the heartache that I gave her. And I remember when I called her and I told her that, my mother bust out crying. And I did that because me being a mother, and raising two girls and a boy by myself, um I got it. I got it. Me and my mother are not exactly alike. We don't necessarily, even now, we don't see things the same way when it comes down to raising children and what have you. But there are some basic fundamentals that we absolutely positively agree on. I don't expect my kids to be exact duplicates of me. You can't be an exact duplicate of me because we're not raising the same children. Your children are different people, just like y'all were different people. So I can't expect you to do as I do. However, there are still some basic fundamentals that must always be in place. And first and foremost, above all, is always going to be respect. And I am so profoundly happy to say, to this very day, at the age of 56 years old, my mother has never heard me curse. And I promise you, I'm going to the grave with that one, eh, if I can help it. And I look, I've done pretty darn good for 56 years old. She ain't never heard me drop no F bomb, no nothing. Nope. I can't do it. And should I ever slip and that happen, I'll probably go dig a hole somewhere and jump in it. Because
Yeah.
I just, but that's just me. I would have loved if my children could have been like that. But again, my children are not me. So I've heard each one of them curse, but they have not cursed at me. I've heard them curse. My children um, have not cursed at me, but they've cursed around me. I have not cursed at my mama, and I ain't cursed around her. So, but yeah, I I ask everyone who will view this that you keep my brother lifted up in prayer. Um, and I want to say to anyone who will watch this recording, if you have if you have an issue or issues um, with your mom that you have never discussed, I recommend that you discuss them. Um, I pray that your that your mother will be you muted parents. That your mother will be a woman who is open to listening, um, and that she doesn't allow herself to get defensive or feel like she is being attacked because at the end of the day, first of all, I would pray that you not do it in a malicious manner. Paris, your camera went out.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, there you go. I would pray that you not do it in a malicious manner. That because ultimately the goal is never to hurt. The goal is to heal. Right. The goal is to um, rise above the things that the enemy would use to try to tear families apart. And so I would hope that a mother would be open to hearing um, whatever it is that a child would have to share with them. Just like when we started this episode, and Paris was talking about his relationship with me. he was that tonight was the first time that I heard him say that he had resented me. Um, I appreciate his openness and his transparency, but in the same token, he also said that he understood why I made the decision that I made. But let's just say he didn't understand, and he told me that he resented me. I gotta respect um his feelings, um his perception of a thing, and then and I have to um apologize to him for that. So Paris, I apologize for you believe resenting me, um or for me putting you in a position that you would resent me, because that absolutely was not never my intentions. I always wanted the best. Always wanted and want the best for all my children. But I also thank you too for understanding my position and the decision uh, that I made. But for the record, I want to say despite me having to do that, overall, Paris he was a good son. He wasn't in the street. He wasn't, he didn't hang around a bunch of rough boys. He wasn't doing any drugs or drinking. He wasn't hanging out all night. He wasn't doing those type of things. But Paris was a class clown, and he felt like it
Okay.
was his job to entertain his classmates.
I was good at it too.
As say what? You was good at
I
it.
was good at it. I was
Oh
good.
jeez.
Yep.
And he did get to a point where he was feeling kind of mannish. And I think we all our mother said, don't let nobody in my house when I'm not home. My son, well, mommy, I don't understand why my friends can't come over and watch a movie while you're not here. What you mean you don't understand? So you remember that? Do you
Yeah.
understand today why that's not appropriate?
Uh. Well, yeah. I know. I know what could have came of it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh. A couple of different scenarios, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Children have to realize, look, when you in it, then you're like, really, mom, that don't make no sense or whatever. You want to give them all levels of pushback and a hard time or what have you. But what a parent does, they always 5 and 10 steps ahead. They always thinking about they gotta anticipate every scenario. They have to pay. I don't want to say devil's advocate. They have to they have to think about everything that could happen and act accordingly. So at the end of the day, if I'm not home and you got all these kids up in my house, anything could happen. And who it falls on? It falls on me because I'm the adult that own the house. And yeah, so it wasn't that I wasn't trying to squelch your socialization skills. I just need you to do it when I was there. And so ultimately, um Paris, I believe, did that more than once, and I was like, "Yeah, this ain't gonna work." And I told him, "If you did it again, I'm going to send you to live with your father." And so he did again, and so I had to be true to my word. My grandmother told me, when you promise to whoop a child, you are to whoop a child. Don't give your child empty promises, because then they won't take you seriously. So I had to follow. I had to follow through. But it hurt me. It hurt me too. But ultimately, I feel like it was the best because now my son is a 30-year-old married man, raising his own children, and he is a responsible adult, even though he spent a lot of time playing video games.
That's it's hard work now.
What's hard work now?
Video games, they ain't the same video games no more.
Oh, jeez.
Say,
Mm. Now, they can't be that hard if you can multitask. You can hold a conversation with me and play video game at the same time. They can't be that hard.
well, I got multiple jobs that help me with multitasking. You know, so
No, you
I
didn't.
got I play sports, so my hand-eye coordination is really good. So you know, it's nothing
Oh,
to just talk and move your hands and stuff like that.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Paris he's a good dad. And he's totally different than my daughters. Um, my son requires respect, and he believes in discipline, and he believes in order. Where do you get that from?
Boys in the Hood. Not playing. um, nah, it's, it, well, yeah. Actually, I must say, Boys in the Hood.
Oh, stop it.
Um, but it's just something to think about where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
Where my kids gotta be raised. I know the rules of engagement
Mm-hmm.
to staying out the way
Mm-hmm.
in Buffalo when it comes to Buffalo. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, you
Mm-hmm.
survive in Buffalo, you can survive anywhere. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well.
Maybe.
Look, if you create the right foundation, you absolutely can survive anywhere.
Mm.
Um, and so yeah, that I mean, honestly, that's a no brainer. You can put a child in the worst environment, but if you've taught them properly, you've given them the necessary life skills and guidance and what have you, they absolutely can survive. But your children need to know that you are parent first, and you may never ever end up being friend, but you're gonna always be parent, and your role as parent is to provide guidance and a foundation, a foundation strong enough for them to stand on in your absence. And so and that was the way that I approached parenting. I've always told them, I need to know that should anything happen to me, that y'all gonna be able to stand on your own 2 feet. Remember I said that?
Yeah.
And that's how I raise them. You got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. So yeah, so that is it for this evening. I want to wish every mother happy Mother's Day. I want to wish love and peace to every woman who has lost her mother. Um, every man who has lost his mother. I send you love and peace and blessings. I pray that those who have lost, that you can find some level of peace and comfort on this day. That this day not be filled with a sadness of longing, but that this Mother's Day be filled with um, happy thoughts. So you can, missing them will, I believe, never goes away. It never goes away, but um, the hurt. of them not being there can be replaced with the legacy that your mom has left in you. And so I pray that everybody realizes that on this Mother's Day. And so again, I ask that you all please pray for my brother, that God touches his heart, that he finds forgiveness, um, that he comes to the realization that this hate and anger that has taken residence in his heart is eating him up from the inside out. And I don't care how he tried to rationalize it and and um, try to make scientific sense out of it. Yeah, that's the enemy. There ain't nothing but the enemy. And I believe that he will God will allow him to stay in it, in this thing, until he rectifies his heart. So, got anything else, son?
Um, just happy Mother's Day to all the women out there. Keep striving to be great mothers. Um,
Mm.
um, yeah, can't wait to Father's Day. Give me some gifts.
Mm.
But
We gonna do a pre-recording for Father's Day. I don't
are
know
we?
if we.
I'm pretty sure I won't be doing anything.
Yeah, I don't.
Ah,
Well,
I take that back. I might be.
I gotta check the calendar and see if we slated for an episode on that day. But everybody, we will be back to continue more unspoken conversations. We will continue to have conversations about the words that we use. Super excited about our upcoming topics. I will post them on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, the upcoming events. I mean, excuse me, the upcoming episodes. So you, everybody, stay tuned. I hope that this discussion has blessed someone. I'm glad that I didn't completely lose it in front of everybody. Um, and look, um, uh, me coming on camera with no eyebrows and no eyelashes. Um, yes, that was me being vulnerable and transparent, and basically just showing you guys that I am true to this, that it is not just about me having my hair done and eyebrows and so on and so forth. I really care about the topics that we discuss, and that my audience means the world to us. And we thank you for um, being patient with us, tolerating us, engaging us in conversation, for your continued support. And we know that greater things are on the horizon. So, with that being said, in the famous words of uh, his name Russell
Don
Simmons,
Cornelius.
no, of Russell Simmons. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night.